business news from the Capital Region. This is Washington Business Report with ABC7 national correspondent Rebecca Cooper.
Thanks for joining us for a look at business and finance and how it affects you. On today's show, how to think like a millennial. We'll tell you how Instagram, Vine, Twitter, and even Snapchat can work for you. Plus, how Republicans should be reacting to Hillary's economic message. And will housing and the overall economy rebound? Do you know someone who has to rent out a portion of their home to be able to pay the mortgage? We'll have all that and more coming up in the roundtable. But first, last week we introduced you to Mark Walsh, the cutting-edge investor, innovator, and entrepreneur. His early days at AOL and HBO proved that successful people aren't looking at what's hot today, but what will be hot tomorrow. So if you're wondering what's around the corner, Mark Walsh's track record shows we should be looking to him. Today, the second half of our one-on-one interview reveals where he's laying some of his next bets on education.
Well, you know, I have an extraordinarily high appetite for risk.
For pain.
Pain and risk often are the same two things. You know, I've always, to me, the highs are higher and the lows are lower, but I'll take that deal.
Okay.
It's a high beta, right? I like really, really high highs, and I don't know, maybe I'm bipolar. I should probably get myself checked. No, but in business, or not, right? But in business, I'd rather be excited. I mean, I'm not criticizing large corporations. Please do not take it that way. I'd rather be excited every day about the potential for major change in my job and job content in my company than not. So after the bubble, it was, you know, I had made enough money, to be blunt, at VerticalNet through stock and my salary and the growth that I was able to do some stuff that I wanted to do when I got into politics, technology and politics, and education, working with colleges and universities on their technology side and stuff like that. So it was great fun.
Let's jump to your job in politics, because it then led to another interesting iteration as a business leader. First, your title. You were the first ever Chief Technology Officer for the Democratic National Party.
Yeah, technically my title was Chief Technology Advisor. They did not have officers of the Democratic National Committee. But that being said, I was the first Chief Technology Officer.
They had no Chief Technology anything, suffice to say.
Exactly right.
But you kept selling things.
Yeah.
And you kept creating things.
Yes, and I really got into education then. I became the chairman of the board of trustees, I still am, of my college. And I got involved in education companies. I was on the board of Blackboard, which is a DC-based, tremendous education.
Huge success story.
I was an early investor, angel investor, and served on the board for 6 years. So I got to know the ed tech world pretty well. And there's another world that's undergone great transition in the last 6 to 8 years. So I'm chairman of my college, and I'm also chairman of the Entrepreneurship Center at University of Maryland here in College Park. So I have a front row seat at watching college and university presidents and those teams watch how education is being delivered. If you're a freshman at University of Maryland, do you think in 4 years you're going to have the exact same way of learning from the classroom? No. If you think that your kids or my kids or our grandkids in 25, 30, 60 years are going to be going to college like this, come on, no way. So watching how that is transitioning, and bluntly, the collision between what faculty and staff think at colleges think it is versus where it's going to go, it's been incredibly interesting and entertaining, and a good investment opportunity for me.
And you have a radio gig. But before we get to the radio gig, we have to back up to another interesting part of your career, Air America.
It's a long story, but I became CEO of the first liberal talk radio network. And it was an attempt to push back, this is in '03, push back on what has clearly been a right-wing Republican, I wouldn't say Republican, but a right-wing tactic to take over talk radio. But it was 95% of talk radio in America that had a political tilt was right-wing.
Yeah.
So you're thinking 5%? There's got to be a market for more than 5%. I mean, liberals buy vacations, buy Crest toothpaste, rent cars, right? So we founded Air America. We hired Al Franken and Rachel Maddow. She was a little newsreader on a wacky radio station in Springfield, Massachusetts at the time. And a bunch of other talent, Janine Garofalo, and a whole bunch of other people.
It looked like it had everything it needed to succeed.
Except money. We had a fraudulent chairman. He's in prison now, actually. And he lied to everybody about how much money the company had. I will agree with the critics of Air America on one specific thing. It was very hard to raise money for Air America. So you had a lot of very, very wealthy liberal donors who would give the Democratic candidates and to other liberal causes, typically not for profit, but couldn't find in their heart a way to give to a for-profit entity that would promote their message. The Republicans and the hard right finds it very natural to give to opportunities that will promote their message, sometimes not for profit, sometimes for profit, and it's great. So I think the one criticism I agree with, liberal and progressive and Democrats couldn't get into their mind that they would actually have a consistent, profitable voice to generate their message. And Republicans have no problem with it.
Now you're juggling all these different hats. What are you most excited about, and aren't you just exhausted?
Well, no, I'm more peppy than ever, as they might say. I really am stoked about education. I think the education, we mentioned I was at HBO when it changed TV, and AOL when it changed communication, and B2B with VerticalNet, and the Democratic Party and politics. I think education is the next castle whose walls won't crumble, but they'll be affected a lot.
How so?
Well, I just ask people, do you think college is worth $62,000 a year? And most people say no.
And what's the next best alternative?
Well, there's the only alternative that I can see. I shouldn't say the only. Of many potential choices, the most promising alternative I see is that for colleges, the ones that are expensive, even University of Maryland, which is half that, have to figure out a way to maximize their asset base, their campus, their teachers, their rooms. They have to figure out a way to offer the certification of a good degree without 4 full years, 9 months a year, sitting in a dorm, drinking some beers on weekends. It's just not going to work anymore.
So is this your business passion or your nonprofit passion?
Both. And that's the beauty of it. So I think there's actually a good Venn diagram where I'll be able to serve in the not-for-profit arena, the institutions I care about, my college alma mater, University of Maryland, and others, and I'll be able to do well by doing good, as Ted Leonsis used to say, in building businesses that properly help colleges and universities migrate to the next world.
Mark Walsh, thanks for joining us on Washington Business Report.
Thank you.